Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week, and if you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. Here's another fun one from the TCD DIY collection. Surprisingly, I haven't made an off-the-shoulder v-neck yet. Crazy, I know, so I thought to try my hand at it and it turned out really well. This one's fairly customizable, so feel free to go wild if you want it looser, tighter, longer, or shorter. And if you need help, be sure to reach out in the usual places so I can help get you right. With that being said, without further ado, for this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used 280 grams of yarn, or that's 800 yards if you're in the States. As for tools, a 5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Watch the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. I'm using 3 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Next, we're going to grab our 5mm hook, and we're going to start off by doing some measuring. But before we do that, we're actually going to do a really quick tip that I learned so that our chain doesn't get twisted. So we are all going to start off by making a chain of 5. Once we have our chain of 5, we are going to pull some slack and take out our hook. From there, we're going to insert our hook into the first chain that we have. And then we're going to take our slack loop, place that onto our hook, and pull. And then we're going to continue on with our chain from there. So the first chain that I'm going to make is going to be a chain that reaches from collarbone to collarbone. And I do want this top to be able to be worn off the shoulders as well, so I'm going to make it a little bit longer than usual. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 50, and that comes out to 11 inches or 28 centimeters. Once we have that, get your stitch markers ready because we need to insert them. And for each section of our chain, make sure they are an even number. Now that I have my chain, I'm going to do an extra chain, and I'm going to insert my stitch marker into that chain. From here, we're going to make another measurement from our collarbone down to the point that we want our collar to be. Mine is 9 inches or 23 centimeters, so I'm going to make a chain of 40, and then I will grab another stitch marker, and mine will be another color, just so I know that that is the point of my collar. All right, I am now at the point of my collar. I'm going to do a chain of 1, and then insert my stitch marker that is a different color. And then from here, we're going to work our way back up to our collarbone. Mine is going to be the same measurement, so I'm going to make another chain of 40. And now that we've worked our way up to our collarbone, we're going to do another chain of 1, insert my stitch marker stitch, and then from here, since we should have 2 loops on our hook, we're going to pull our first loop underneath our second loop, and now our work is all connected. All right, so this is what our work should be looking like right now. And from here, we're going to go in with a single crochet row, just doing some increases where we have inserted our stitch markers. So from where we're at, we're going to do a chain of 1, and then we're going to work our way across the back piece that we have. So we're going to put 1 single crochet into every stitch that we have until we hit our stitch marker, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so we have just single crocheted going across the back portion of our collar, and we made our way over to our first stitch marker. So I'm going to take this guy out for now. And then into that next stitch, we're going to go in with an increase of 2 since this is our shoulder stitch marker. So into that next chain, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet and then 1 more single crochet. On this side, we're going to insert our stitch marker into the last single crochet that we just made. But we want to make sure that it's into that point because that is closest to the point of our collar. But once we have that, put 1 single crochet into every chain until we hit the point of our collar, and then I will meet you guys back over there. All right, so we have made our way down to our middle point, and we're going to take out our stitch marker for now. Then into that next chain, we're going to go in with an increase of 3. So insert with 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then 3 single crochet. Insert your stitch marker into the second single crochet that we made. So we're going to count in 1, count in, it's a little twisted, count in 2 right here. That is the middle of our work. And from here, go ahead and put 1 single crochet into every chain. When we hit our stitch marker, we're going to do another increase of 2, but I will meet you guys back. All right, so we have just made our way down and we have just 1 chain left, and we're going to do an increase of 2 into there before we slip stitch it into our first single crochet that we made. So into that last chain, we're going to go in with 1 single crochet and then 2. From here, we're going to insert our stitch marker into the first single crochet that we made for our increase of 2 because we want it closest to the point of our work. So insert into that first single, and from here, we're going to insert our hook into that loop that we have and pull through. Once we have that, we are now going to go around doing the same types of increases, but with back loop single crochets. So I'm just going to talk you guys through it, and then I'll let you guys do the rest of this on your own. But the first back loop single crochet is going to be a chain up of 1. And what we're going to do from here is insert our hook into that first back loop and single crochet. Into that next back loop, and single crochet. And then from here, we're going to continue putting 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. When we reach our stitch markers, we're still going to do our increase of 2 for the shoulders. And then we're going to insert our stitch markers still into the stitches that's closest to our point. When we get down to here, if I can show you guys, when we get down to here, we're still going to do our increase of 3, inserting our stitch marker into that middle stitch. When we make our way all the way around, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, guys, we are back, and we have just finished up going in with our collar. We just finished up our second row of our back loop single crochets. I did do a chain up of 1 and cut, and now we can actually set this off to the side because we're going to get started on our body portion. So getting started with our body portion, we're first going to go in with an underarm measurement. This part's going to be completely up to you guys. If you guys want a regular sleeve or a bat wing, or if you guys want the rest of your top to be longer than mine, go ahead and make your chain to whatever length you need. I'm going to be measuring from mid boob down to where I want the bottom of my top to be, keeping in mind that I will have a bottom band as well. So I'm going to start off by making 4 inches or 10 centimeters, or that's going to come out to 15 chains. And now that we have our chains, we're going to block off that last chain and do a chain up of 2. That counts as our turning chain. From here, we're going to prepare for a half double crochet. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a half double crochet. And put 1 half double crochet into every chain, leaving the last one. We've now made our way down to our last chain, and now we're going to do an increase of 2 half double crochets. So prepare for a half double. Go into that last chain with 1 half double crochet, and then another half double crochet into that same last chain. From here, do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and we're going to start off with doing an increase of 2 back loop single crochets. Insert your hook into that first back loop, single crochet 1, into that same back loop, single crochet 2. Put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. Now that we've made our way down to the end, we're going to do another back loop half double crochet row. So do a chain up of 2, flip our work. From here, we're going to prepare for a half double. Insert your hook into that first back loop with a half double crochet. From here, put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, increasing into the last stitch because this is our increase side. And we're going to keep alternating between back loop half double and back loop single crochet rows until we get an underarm portion that we like. And then I'll meet you guys along the increase side so that we can make a chain that goes up to our shoulders. All right, so this is our underarm portion. I ended up having a total of 5 rows, and we should have all ended on the increased side. From here, we're going to make a chain that reaches the top of our shoulder. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 7 inches or 18 centimeters, or that's a chain of 30. And now that we have our chain, we're going to keep going with the sequence that we have. So from here, we're going to block off that last chain to a chain up of 1. That's our turning chain. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, go in with a single crochet. And we're going to put 1 single crochet into every chain that we have. Once we reach our body portion, we're going to go back to going in with back loop single crochets. We're going to do a chain out of 2, flip our work, and then work our way up with back loop half double crochets. And just keep alternating just the same way that we've been doing with back loop single crochets and back loop half double crochets until we get the shoulder portion that we want. And remember, we're not going to be increasing or decreasing into this section. And I'll meet you guys back along the top portion so that we can connect into the collar together. All right, so we are back and I have just finished up going in with my shoulder portion. I now have a total of 9 rows and now we're ready to connect it into the collar. So what we're going to do is slip stitch it into our shoulder stitch that our stitch marker is into. We're going to want to make sure that we're not going into the bottom corner. So I have already inserted my hook into that stitch that my stitch marker is into. What we're going to do from here is yarn over and pull through everything. And then we do need to work our way up to the next row. So into the collar, we're going to be slip stitching into that next stitch. So into this next available stitch, go ahead and insert your hook and pull through with a slip stitch. And then from here, we're going to be doing a decrease of 2 back loop single crochets because that is the next row that we're going in with. So going into the body portion, insert your hook into that next stitch. Pull through into the stitch right after that. Pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. From here, put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. When we make our way down to the end, do a chain out of 2, flip our work, and put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch until we are just 2 stitches away from our collar because we're going to decrease again. All right, and we have made our way down with our back loop half double crochet row. We left our last 2 back loops so that we can decrease into there together. So prepare for a half double crochet. Insert your hook into that second to last back loop, pull through, into that next back loop, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook. So from here, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Now into the base, we're going to be slip stitching into the next 2 available stitches. We want to make sure that we're going down towards the point of our collar. So we're going to count up 1, count up 2, slip stitch into that second stitch. And now our half double crochet row is all finished. We're just going to work our way up to the next row together, and then I'll let you guys go all the way down to the point of our collar from there. So slip stitch into the next available stitch into the collar, flip our work. Into the first 2 back loops, we're always going to do a decrease of 2 of whatever row we're in. So now we're going to get started with our single crochet rows. So one more time into that first back loop, pull through, next back loop, pull through 3. And then once we work our way back up with our back loop half double crochets, connect it into the base the same way that we just did. I will meet you guys back once we hit the corner stitch. All right, guys, so we are back and we have just finished up going in with our back loop half double and back loop single crochet rows, all decreasing into the 2 stitches that we have right next to the base, going all the way down until we hit our middle stitch. And from here, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, but in reverse. So we're going to be going with increases along the side. So since I ended along the bottom, I'm going to be working my way up until I have just 1 stitch left. We'll increase together for a single and a half double crochet row, and then I'll let you guys go into the rest. And now that we've made our way all the way down and we have just 1 stitch left, we're going to go in with an increase of 2. So prepare for a half double. Go into that last back loop with 1 half double, into that same back loop with another half double, and we're now going to connect it into the base. So go ahead and count out the next 2 available stitches. Here's 1, here's 2. Slip stitch it into there to close off our half double crochet row, and then in order to work our way up to the next, slip stitch up the next stitch. Flip our work, and then put 2 back loop single crochets into that first stitch for this row. And we're going to keep putting 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch, and just keep alternating just like how we've been doing this entire time. But we're now doing increases, and then I'll meet you guys back once we hit our shoulder stitch marker. All right, so we are back, and we have just made our way all the way back up our collar with our increase side. And now I'm just going to show you guys how we're going to finish off our last row, and then how we're going to do our shoulder as well. So for doing our last row, we should have all ended on a half double crochet row. And then when we connect it into the base, we typically skip a stitch and then slip stitch into the next. But we're actually not doing that for this one because we don't have a specific middle row. So what we're going to do is slip stitch it into the next stitch that we have, which should be our shoulder stitch marker stitch. So we're just going to insert our hook just into that next stitch and pull through. And now we have the same amount of rows as we have here on the other side. And then from here, we're going to start working in with our shoulders. So our next row is a single crochet row. So we're going to do a chain up of 1. We're going to put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch, do a chain out of 2, 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch for the same amount of rows as we had on our other side for our shoulder portion. And then I will meet you guys back. All right, you guys, I am back, and I have just finished up going in with my shoulder portion. And I did do a chain up of 1 and cut because we need to go in with our underarm portion from here. So since we all should have ended along the top, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then we're going to count down the same amount of stitches as we made chains on this side for our shoulder portion. So if you guys are going in with my numbers, from the top I counted down 30 because I made a chain of 30 on the other side, inserted my stitch marker into there, and then I inserted my hook into the back loop of the stitch that's right next to our stitch marker going towards the bottom. And then we're going to do our first decrease together. So since our hook is already into this back loop, we're going to insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1. And just for this first row, that chain up of 1 does count as our first single crochet. Into that next back loop, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. Insert your hook into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through. We should have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, and pull through 3. From here, put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch, and then into the next row, do a chain up of 2, flip our work, put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, leaving the last 2 because we're going to decrease together just 1 more time, but remembering that that chain up of 1 counts as our last stitch. All right, so we've just done our back loop half double crochets, working our way back up, leaving the last 2 stitches. So prepare for a half double into that second to last back loop, yarn over, pull through, then into that last back loop, which was our chain from our previous row, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 4, and keep repeating our sequence of back loop half doubles and back loop single crochets while maintaining a decrease along this top portion for the same amount of underarm rows as we had on the other side. Do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then I'll meet you guys back so we can do the back. All right, y'all, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with our underarm portion, and our front panel is all finished up. We're going to start off by doing the back, and it's going to start the same exact way that the front panel did. So go ahead and do the same amount of chains and rows for our underarm portion, and then same amount of rows for our shoulder portion as well. Once we have this section all finished up, I will meet you guys back. But a really quick tip before I let you guys go. My work does slant just a little bit, and that is because of the back loop half double and back loop single crochet rows. But do not fret, it'll all even out once everything is all seamed up. So now that that's out of the way, go ahead and get the first little bit of your back panel finished up, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so I am back, and I have just finished up going in with my underarm and my shoulder portion. And then from here, we're going to work along the back, and it's going to be pretty much the same thing that we did for the front, but with no increases or decreases, so a little bit easier. I'm just going to show you guys where we're going to insert our hook, and then I'll let you guys go from there. So for the front panel, we inserted our hook into the stitch that our stitch marker was in. That was for the front. And now we're going to be inserting our hook into the stitch right behind that so that we can work our way straight across for our back panel. So since my hook is already in through there, I'm just going to pull through. And then from here, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch that we have going towards the back. So let me flip my work really quick. And once my work is flipped, we're going to slip stitch into that next stitch. And then working down the body, we're going to go in with our back loop single crochets and back loop half doubles. And keep doing that, going all the way down to our shoulder portion. And then I'll meet you guys back for our underarm portion just to talk you guys through it. Alrighty, so we are back and we have just finished up going in with the entirety of our back portion and our shoulder portion, which should have been the same amount of rows as our other shoulder portions. And then from here, we can now go in with the underarm part. So since we all should have ended along the bottom for this portion, we don't need to do any chaining up one and cutting. What we're going to do is insert our stitch marker into the same amount of stitches as chains that we made for all of the other sides. And then we're going to do our next row of back loop half double crochets, working way up and then decreasing into the 2 stitches right before our stitch marker. So let's do that together. So since I'm along the bottom, let's do a chain up of 2 and flip our work. From here, put 1 back loop half double crochet until we have just 2 stitches right before our stitch marker. So now that we've made our way up till we have just 2 stitches right before our stitch marker, we're going to do a decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook into the second to last back loop, pull through. Into that last back loop, yarn over, pull through, and pull through all 4 loops. And that is our decrease. Now we're going to do a chain up of 1 and flip our work, and then do a decrease of 2 back loop single crochets. So into that first back loop, insert your hook, pull through. Into that next back loop, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Put 1 back loop single crochet into every stitch. And we're going to keep alternating just like that while maintaining the decrease along the top end for the same amount of rows as we have for all of our other underarm portions. And then we're going to do a chain up of 1 and cut, and then we're going to seam it all up. We have just finished up going in with the entirety of our back panel. Once we get here, we're now going to seam up the shoulders and then the sides. So let's get started with the shoulders first. The first thing that we're going to want to do is make sure that our work is flipped wrong side out. And by the way you can tell is going to be the ribbing that we have along the collar. We're going to want this to be the outside. So since mine is showing, once you flip it, and we can get started on the shoulder portion. All right, so we are first going to want to insert our hook into the stitches that the front panel and back panel are coming out of into the collar. We're doing that so that we don't have any gaps when we actually put it on. But once when our hook is into there, we're going to insert our yarn onto our hook and pull through. And then we're going to do a chain up of 1 to secure. From here, we're going to single crochet the front and the back panel together, and we're going to be putting 1 single crochet to every side row. So this is my first side row that I have into the front panel, so I'm going to be inserting my hook into there. This is the first side row that I have for my back panel, so I'm going to insert my hook into there, and then just single crochet. Let's do the next one. This is my next side row in the front. This is my next side row in the back, and then single crochet. Keep doing this until we don't have any more side rows left to go into. Do a chain up of 1 and cut. And now that we have our shoulder all seamed up, what we're going to do from here is do the same thing for our side, but this is going to be a little bit easier because we have actual loops to go into. So insert your hook into the corner stitch we have into the front panel, and then into the corner stitch we have into the back panel, and insert your yarn onto your hook, pull through, do a chain up of 1 to secure. Into the next available stitch we have into the front panel, insert your hook. Into the next available stitch we have into the back panel, insert your hook into there, and then single crochet. Let's do this one more time. Next available stitch into the front, next available stitch into the back, and then single crochet. Keep doing this all the way down. When we don't have any more stitches, do a chain up of 1 and cut, and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so we are back and we have just finished up seaming our shoulders and our side, and now we're going to start working on the sleeves. So the first thing we're going to do is go in with a single crochet row. So we're going to be inserting our hook into the stitch that's right next to our side seam. Insert our yarn onto our hook, pull through. When it comes to going up the underarm portion, we are going to be putting one single crochet into each side row. So as an example, I ended up having 5 side rows right here for my underarm. So I'm going to have 5 single crochets. So this is my first side row right here. Insert with a single crochet. This is my next side row, which is a single. So insert and single crochet. We're going to keep doing that until we get to the shoulder portion, which is this right here. We're going to put one single crochet into every stitch, going up and over, and then continuing putting one single crochet into every side row that we have right here. All right, now that we have made our way around with our first row for our sleeve, we're going to work on our second, which is just a half double crochet row. So go ahead and do a chain above 2, flip our work, and then put one back loop half double crochet into every stitch. Slip stitch into that second chain that we made, and then I'll meet you guys back. All right, so we have just made our way around with our half double crochet row. We are now going to do our single crochet row because we're still alternating, but into every single crochet row, we're going to be doing a decrease until it gets snug. So let's do the first one together. I already did my chain up of 1 for this row. We're going to flip our work, and we're going to start off by going in with 18 back loop single crochets. All right, so we have just made our way down with our first 18 back loop single crochets. Into the next, we're going to do a decrease. So insert your hook into that next back loop, pull through. Next back loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. That is our first decrease. And we are going to maintain this sequence of 18 back loop single crochets and a decrease, making our way all the way around for this row. We are going to do a back loop half double crochet row after that, but no decreases into that row. And then when we meet our next back loop single crochet row, we will be doing another decrease. But since we started with 18 back loop single crochets here, we're next going to do 17 back loop single crochets and then a decrease. And then we're just going to keep working our way down like that. So for example, our next decrease row is in our single crochet row. The next one is going to be 16 back loop single crochets and then a decrease, and then 15, 14, 13, so on and so forth, with a half double crochet row with no decreases in between. And we're going to keep going like that until this gets as tight as you guys want it. So it could be snug, it could not be, completely up to you guys. But I will meet you guys back once when I have mine all finished up so I can show you guys what I'm going to do after that. Alrighty, so I am back and I have just finished up going in with my decreases where we did a decrease into every single crochet row. And I have a total of 22 rows right here, plus a half double and a single. But long story short, wherever you guys decide to stop, we're just going to be alternating between a half double and a single crochet row, just putting one stitch into every back loop. We're going to keep going down like that. All right, y'all, so I am back and I have just finished up going in with the length of my sleeve. In total, I have 61 rows, and from here, we're ready to go in with our cuff. So we're going to start off by making a chain the length that we want our cuff to be, and I want mine to be about 4.5 inches or 11 centimeters. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 23. Now that I have my chain, I'm going to block off my last chain and do a chain up of 1. That counts as our turning chain. We're going to slip stitch into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook. Just like that, let's do one more. Insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, and pull through everything. And put one slip stitch into every chain. Now that we've slip stitched all the way down our chain, we're now going to slip stitch it into the base. So into that next available stitch that we have, we're going to slip stitch it, and that closes off this first row. And in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch that we have into the base and flip our work. And from here, we're going to make our way down, putting one back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So let's do the first one together. Insert your hook into that first back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. And that's basically it. Go ahead and keep doing this, going all the way down. When we make our way down to the end, do a chain up of 1, flip our work, put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, and then connect it into the base the same way that we just did. I'll meet you guys back when we don't have any more stitches left so that we can seam it up. Alright, so we have just made our way all the way around with our cuff, and now this is all back loop slip stitches. And now we're ready to seam it up. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that our work is flipped right side out. And what we're going to do from here is insert our hook into the first available stitch into the front panel, next available stitch into the back panel. This is my working yarn in the middle, so don't mind that. I'm just going to yarn over and pull through everything that's on my hook. Once when I've done that, we are going to go in with a slip stitch into the front panel and the back panel at the same time, and we're going to be going in through the outside loops. So by outside loops, I mean going into the front loop into the front panel, and then going into the back loop into the back panel. So let's do that together. Into that next available stitch, insert your hook only into that front loop. And then from there, into that next stitch, into the back panel, only insert your hook into that back loop, or the loop that's furthest away from you, yarn over, and pull through everything. Let's do one more. Next available stitch, go into the front loop. Next available stitch in the back, go into that back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this, going all the way down until we don't have any more stitches left. Do a chain up of 1 and cut once we have that, and then go ahead and do the same thing that we did here on the other side. Alrighty, so we are back and we have just finished up going in with both of our sleeves. And we're now ready to go into the bottom band, and we want to make sure that this fits nicely. So we're going to approach this a little bit differently, so stick with me for a sec. We're going to start off by making a chain that is comfortable and fits around our body where our bottom band is going to be. Whatever number that is, we're going to subtract it by the amount of rows that we have for our body portion. And that'll tell you how many loops we need to decrease by. We're going to take the amount of side rows for our body and then divide that by how many you want to decrease by, so the number that we just got. And then whatever number you get is the stitch that you will skip to get an even decrease. And in a lot of cases, it's not going to be completely even. You may have some extra rows left over, but that's completely fine. We just want to make sure that it is decreased as evenly as possible. So as an example, I have 129 rows for my body. The chain that I made came out to 110, so I'm going to subtract those two numbers and I got 19. I'm going to divide my 129 by my 19, and that comes out to roughly 6.7. And since that isn't an exact number, I'm going to round down to 6. And from there, I'm going to skip every 6th row. So to get this started, I actually inserted my stitch markers into the side row that I'm going to skip, which is every 6th for myself. This isn't necessary, it's just a little bit easier to me so I have a visual. But from there, I'm going to insert my hook into the first side row that I have. That's right next to my seam. It doesn't need to be there. I just like to put it here as a cleaner look. I'm going to pull through and do a chain up of 1. Into that first side row that we have, we're going to insert our hook with 1 single crochet. And like I said, I'm going to be skipping every 6th stitch. So I'm going to go into every side row, putting 1 single crochet into each. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 1 more, 5. My stitch marker is into here. This is my 6th stitch. So I can take this stitch marker out, skip this stitch, and go into the one after that. Let's do one more set together. So that counts as my first. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm at my next stitch marker, which is my 6th. So go ahead and take that guy out. Skip that next row, single crochet into the next. I'm going to keep doing this, making my way all the way around. Alright, so I have just made my way all the way around with my single crochet row, and now we can go in with the height of our bottom band. So I want mine to be about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So I'm going to start off by making a chain of 10. Once we have our chain, we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, flip our work. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, we're going to go in with a slip stitch. We're going to put 1 slip stitch into every chain. Now that we have slip stitched into every chain, we're going to slip stitch it into the base to connect it. So into the next available stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through everything to close off this first row. And in order to work our way up to the next, we're going to slip stitch up the next, flip our work, and then put one back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So insert your hook into that first back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this going all the way down. When we don't have any more stitches left, do a chain up of one, flip your work, and then put one back loop slip stitch into every stitch, making your way down, connecting it into the base the same way that we just did. Keep doing that all the way around till we don't have any more stitches left. Then I'll meet you guys back so we can seam it up. Alright, and now that we have made our way all the way around with our bottom band, we're now going to seam it up, and it's going to be seamed up the same way that we seamed up the cuff, so let's just do the first one together. Insert your hook into the first available stitch into the front panel, and also into the next available stitch into the back panel. From here, yarn over and pull through everything. And we are still doing slip stitches going into the outside loop, so let's just do the first one together. Into the next available stitch, insert your hook into that front panel. Into that next available stitch into the back panel, insert your hook into that back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything. Keep doing that, going all the way down to a chain up of one and cut. Alright, so we have just finished up seaming up our bottom band, and we are actually all done with this piece. The last thing we're going to have to do is weave in all of our ends. Our ends are tucked away and our cropped v-neck is all finished. I'm really excited about this piece. We've had it in our sketchbook for weeks and it's finally here. I love how this turned out and I'm really happy to share this with y'all, so let me know how much you love it too in the comments. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us how you're going to spend your Halloween if you guys celebrate. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up because believe it or not, it really helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Those links are down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. And be sure to favorite the shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and exclusive deals. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.